This is FIBA Podcast. Thank you for joining us in our morning daily devotion.
Let me ask you a question. What's the most important thing a surgeon should know before entering the operating room? Well, what body part or organ he is operating on, right? Imagine if he didn't pay attention to the nurse, he might go in and operate on the wrong organ. Or think about how carefully doctors need to listen before they prescribe a course of treatment to a patient. Good doctors listen carefully in order to understand what the problem is before they can talk about a treatment. What about a soldier that's going into battle? If he doesn't listen to the instructions carefully, it could cost him his life and possibly others around him. There's an interesting story about a watch that someone lost. Before refrigerators existed, people used to build ice houses to preserve their food. Ice houses had thick walls, no windows, and a tightly fitted door. And so in winter, when the streams and the lakes were frozen, large blocks of ice were cut, hauled to the ice houses, and covered with sawdust. And often the ice would last well into the summer. Now, on one particular occasion, a man lost a valuable watch while working in an ice house. And he searched diligently for it, carefully raking through the sawdust, but he didn't find it. His fellow workers also looked, but their efforts too proved futile. And then a small boy who heard about this fruitless search, he came and he slipped into the ice house during the noon hour, and he soon came out with the watch. Amazed, the men looked at him and said, "How did you find it?" And the boy replied, "Well, I went in, I closed the door, and I lay down in the sawdust, and I kept very still. And soon I heard the watch ticking." Now, my point with this illustration is about the importance of listening carefully. Our generation sometimes is not necessarily good at listening. We love to voice our opinions, our voices need to be heard, or we're too distracted to listen carefully. But there are many contexts in which we need to listen carefully, and it's wise to do that. It could be the advice of parents, or of friends, or of teachers, or of old and experienced people, or to listen carefully in order to give advice. But it's important, it's wise to listen carefully. In fact, in the Proverbs in the Bible, you hear just a few verses to give you. Proverbs 8:33-34, it says, "Hear instruction and be wise. Do not neglect it. Blessed is the one who listens to me, watching daily at my gate, waiting beside my doors." Or Proverbs 19:20, it says, "Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom in the future." Or the counsel of a close friend, Proverbs 27:9, "Oil and perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel." And so it's wise to listen to a friend. Or to parents, "Hear, my son, your father's instruction, forsake not your mother's teaching, for they are a graceful garland for your head and pendants for your necks." Proverb 1:8. And so listening is important. And by contrast, do not be hasty to speak or voice your opinion. A wise person takes time to listen well. Proverbs 18:13 says, "If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame." Or Proverbs 18:2 says, "A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion." Or you come to the wisdom book of the New Testament, James chapter 1:19, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." And so when you practice listening, there's wisdom in listening carefully to advice or to give advice, but to be able to be someone who listens carefully. And when you listen, it's good to be face to face with the person. A lot of conversations happen on chat these days, and that's why you have emojis. But there's so much said when we are actually looking at a person and we're listening to them, and there's that interaction with them face to face. A wise person is quick to receive, listen, and understand the advice and counsel of the people around them. They're quick to listen, not to just advice, but also before giving advice, so that the counsel they give is born out of a careful evaluation of what they have heard. Said on average, a typical person utters between 125 to 175 words per minute, but can listen to about 450 words per minute. And I say to you, let's play to our strengths. Be quick to listen, my brothers and sisters.
Dear listener, we are here to stand with you in your time of need. We want to pray with you and for your prayer request. Do you need someone to talk to? We are here for you. Call us or send a message at +91 636 425 2164 +91 636 425 2164. God bless you.